America built nearly 300,000 tanks, 2.4 million trucks, and millions of other vehicles during World War II, an industrial avalanche that buried the Axis under sheer numbers. But quantity wasn't everything. This video catalogs every major vehicle America deployed, from the iconic Jeep to the amphibious Duck, revealing which machines won the war and which ones got their crews killed. Light tanks open our catalog. The M3 Stuart became America's first combat-effective light tank. Armed with a 37mm gun and capable of 36 miles per hour, it fought in North Africa and the Pacific. British crews nicknamed it Honey for its reliability, though its gun proved inadequate against German armor. The M5 Stuart improved on the M3 with a better engine and a roomier crew compartment. Introduced in 1942, it served primarily in the Pacific, where Japanese tanks offered less formidable opposition. Its speed and reliability made it valuable for reconnaissance. The M24 Chaffee appeared late in the war as a proper light tank replacement. Armed with a 75mm gun, it could engage enemy armor effectively. Only a few hundred saw combat before Germany surrendered, but it served for decades afterward. Medium tanks follow. The M3 Lee was America's stopgap medium tank featuring a 75mm gun in a hull, sponson, and a 37mm gun in a turret. This awkward design was rushed into production before better tanks were ready. It served adequately in North Africa, but was obsolete by 1943. The M4 Sherman became America's primary tank with over 49,000 produced. Reliable, easy to maintain, and produced in massive numbers, it overwhelmed German armor through quantity rather than quality. Its propensity to catch fire when penetrated earned grim nicknames from crews. The M4A1 Sherman featured a cast hull instead of welded construction. Otherwise similar to the standard M4, it served throughout Europe and the Pacific. Later models mounted a more powerful 76mm gun to counter German Panthers and Tigers. The M4A3 Sherman with the 76mm gun and wet ammunition storage became the most effective American tank. The wet stowage system dramatically reduced fire risk. Still outmatched by German heavy tanks, it relied on numbers and air support. The M26 Pershing appeared in the final months of the war as America's answer to German heavy tanks. Its 90mm gun and heavy armor could finally challenge Tigers and Panthers on equal terms. Only a few hundred reached Europe before the war ended. Tank destroyer come next. The M10 Wolverine mounted a 3-inch gun on a modified Sherman chassis. Designed for mobile anti-tank defense, it featured an open-top turret and thin armor, emphasizing speed over protection. Over 6,400 were built, serving across all theaters. The M18 Hellcat was the fastest-tracked armored vehicle of the war, capable of 55 miles per hour. Its 76mm gun could destroy most German tanks, and speed kept it alive. Crews loved its agility despite minimal armor protection. The M36 Jackson mounted a powerful 90mm gun capable of penetrating any German tank. Introduced in late 1944, it provided American forces with much-needed firepower against Tigers and Panthers. About 2,300 were produced. Self-propelled artillery follows. The M7 Priest mounted a 105mm howitzer on a Sherman chassis. Its mobile firepower supported infantry and armored advances across Europe and the Pacific. The pulpit-like machine gun mount inspired its nickname. Over 300 were built. The M8 Scott carried a 75mm howitzer for close infantry support. Mounted on a Stuart chassis, it provided assault gun capabilities. Primarily used in the Pacific, it delivered high explosive firepower against bunkers and fortifications. The M12 gun motor carriage mounted a 155 mm gun on a modified M3 Lee chassis. This heavy self-propelled gun delivered long-range fire support. Though only about 100 were built, they proved valuable during the European campaign. The M40 gun motor carriage appeared late in the war with a 155 mm gun on a widened Sherman chassis. Powerful and mobile, it entered service just before Germany surrendered. It saw extensive use in Korea. Halftracks and personnel carriers follow. The M2 Halftrack was a light armored personnel carrier carrying 10 troops. Thousands served in reconnaissance, mortar carrier, and command vehicle roles. Its combination of wheels and tracks offered good mobility across varied terrain. The M3 Halftrack became the standard American armored personnel carrier, with over 41,000 produced. It transported infantry, towed guns, and served in dozens of specialized roles. Simple and reliable, it kept pace with tank advances across Europe. The M5 Halftrack was produced by International Harvester with design improvements over the M3. About 7,500 were built. Its larger engine compartment and improved layout made maintenance easier in field conditions. The M16 multiple gun motor carriage mounted a quad 5.0 caliber machine gun turret on an M3 Halftrack chassis. Devastating against aircraft and ground targets, it provided mobile anti-aircraft protection for advancing columns. Its firepower proved equally deadly against infantry. Armored care for reconnaissance. The M8 Greyhound became America's standard armored car. Its 37 mm gun and 6-wheel drive provided good reconnaissance capability. Fast on roads and adequately protected against small arms, over 8,500 were produced. The M20 armored utility car was an M8 without the turret, used for command and reconnaissance. Its open-top fighting compartment mounted a machine gun. It served as command vehicles and scout cars throughout the war. Amphibious vehicles come next. The DUKW, pronounced Duck, was a 6-wheel drive amphibious truck. Capable of 5 knots in water and 50 miles per hour on land, it revolutionized amphibious logistics. Over 21,000 were built, delivering supplies directly from ships to beaches. The LVT-1 Alligator was a tracked landing vehicle, developed from a civilian swamp rescue vehicle. It carried troops or cargo from ships to shore across reefs and obstacles. Essential for Pacific Island assaults, it evolved through numerous variants. The LVT-2 Water Buffalo improved on the original with a better suspension and rear ramp for unloading cargo. Over 2,900 were produced. It served extensively in the Pacific, delivering Marines to hostile beaches. The LVT, a -1, mounted a 37 mm gun turret from the Stuart tank. This armored variant provided fire support during amphibious assaults. Later models carried 75 mm howitzers for increased firepower against fortifications. The Ford GPA, nicknamed Seep, was an amphibious Jeep. About 12,700 were produced but proved less useful than hoped. Most were sent to the Soviet Union under Lend-Lease, where they served in river crossings. Logistics and transport vehicles follow. The Willys MB and Ford GPW, universally known as the Jeep, became the war's most iconic vehicle. Over 640,000 were produced. Versatile, reliable, and capable anywhere. It served in every role from reconnaissance to ambulance to general's staff car. The Dodge WC series comprised half-ton to 3/4-ton trucks in dozens of variants. The WC-51 weapons carrier and WC-54 ambulance were ubiquitous throughout American forces. Simple, rugged, and reliable, they kept armies mobile. The GMC CCKW, known as the Deuce and a Half, was America's standard 2.5-ton cargo truck. Over 560,000 were produced. It hauled everything from ammunition to troops across every theater. Its six-wheel drive conquered terrible roads. The International M5H6 was a 6-ton cargo truck used primarily for heavy hauling. Thousands served moving supplies from ports to front lines. Less famous than the Deuce and a Half, it proved equally essential. The Mac-NR was a heavy prime mover for artillery. Its powerful engine and robust construction towed the heaviest American guns. Mac trucks became synonymous with reliability and power. The Diamond T model, 980 and 981, were heavy tank transporters. These massive vehicles moved disabled or operational tanks long distances on trailers. Essential for maintaining armored formations, they recovered damaged vehicles from battlefields. Motorcycles and small vehicles round out wheeled transport. The Harley-Davidson WLA was the American military motorcycle, with over 88,000 produced. Reliable and easy to maintain, it served in reconnaissance and messenger roles. Its 4 cubic-inch V-twin became iconic. The Indian Model 741 was a military motorcycle built by Harley's competitor. About 35,000 served American and Allied forces. Lighter than the Harley, it proved popular for its maneuverability. The Cushman Model 53 airborne scooter was designed for paratroopers. Dropped in protective canisters, these small scooters provided mobility after airborne landings. About 4,700 were produced for use in Europe and the Pacific. Specialized and engineering vehicles finished the catalog. The M4 high-speed tractor was a fully tracked prime mover for heavy artillery. Capable of towing 155mm guns and 8-inch howitzers, it provided mobility for the heaviest American artillery. Thousands served in Europe and the Pacific. The M5 high-speed tractor was similar to the M4, but built by International Harvester. These robust vehicles kept heavy artillery mobile during rapid advances. Their track design handled mud and rough terrain better than wheeled vehicles. The M29 Weasel was a lightweight tracked cargo carrier designed for snow operations. Originally intended for Norwegian operations, it proved valuable in winter conditions and swampy terrain. The M31 tank recovery vehicle was based on the M3 Lee chassis. Equipped with winches and a crane, it recovered damaged tanks from battlefields. Essential for maintaining armored strength, about 1,500 were built. The M32 tank recovery vehicle improved on the M31 by using a Sherman chassis. Better armored and more powerful, it served throughout the war. Its 60,000-pound winch could extract stuck or damaged tanks under fire. The Caterpillar D7 bulldozer became essential for combat engineering. Thousands served clearing obstacles, building roads, and preparing airfields. Engineers often armored them with improvised steel plates for work under fire. The M1 Combat Engineer Tractor was a purpose-built armored bulldozer. Based on a light tank chassis, it provided protected earth-moving capability. Relatively rare, most engineering work relied on commercial bulldozers.